I've always been a night owl. There's a certain magic to the world between 2 and 4 a.m. A silence so profound it feels like you're the last person on Earth. My name is Eli, and my sanctuary was my beat-up '99 Ford Ranger, and my co-pilot was the AM radio. I'd drive the empty back roads of rural Vermont, the green glow of the dial my only light, searching the static for ghosts of signals from places like Montreal or Boston. It was on one of these drives, on a rain-slicked night in October, that I found the station that wasn't on any map. The rain was coming down in sheets, reducing the world to the twin cones of my headlights and the rhythmic swipe of the wipers. I was twisting through the mountains on Route 9, the trees crowding the asphalt like silent spectators. The radio was a mess of static, a white noise blanket matching the rain. I twisted the tuning knob slowly, listening for the faintest whisper of music or talk. Hiss, crackle, a preacher's frantic fading plea. Hiss. Then, a voice cut through the noise. It was calm, clear, and unnervingly intimate, as if the speaker was right there in the passenger seat. And if you're just joining us, a reminder to keep your doors locked and your lights off. They're drawn to the light, you see. Not the light from a bulb, but the light inside, the one that says you're home. I stopped twisting the knob. The signal was pristine. No fading, no interference from the storm. The station ID chimed, a single clear piano note followed by a woman's soothing voice. You're listening to 660 AM, WXXP, the voice of the Valley. Broadcasting from the heart of the Green Mountains. I'd lived in Vermont my whole life. I knew every local station. There was no WXXP. The host continued. His name, he said, was Arthur. He had a gentle, grandfatherly voice, warm and reassuring. "Caller, you're on the air. What's on your mind tonight?" A new voice came on, a young man who sounded out of breath. "Arthur? Yeah, hi. I'm driving on Route 100 near Granville. There's something wrong with the stars." I sat up straighter, my grip tightening on the wheel. Route 100 was about 20 miles west of me. "Go on, son," Arthur said, his voice kind. "They're not twinkling. They're just fixed, like holes poked in a blanket, and they're all the same brightness, even the ones that shouldn't be." The caller's voice was rising in panic. "And the trees, Arthur. The trees along the road don't have any leaves, but it's not winter. They're just black sticks. I don't remember when that happened." "You're doing just fine," Arthur soothed. "Just keep driving. Don't stop. Don't look at the stars for too long. They don't like to be watched." "Where are you headed?" My girlfriend's house in Warren." "I just have to get to Warren." A long pause. I could hear the soft crackle of the caller's car interior, the hum of his engine. "Michael," Arthur said, and his voice had lost some of its warmth. It was deadly serious. "Listen to me very carefully. Do not go to Warren. Do you understand me? Turn around. Go back the way you came. Right now." "But why?" "I'm almost..." The transmission dissolved into a burst of screeching digital static. It was a horrifying sound, like a modem screaming in agony. It lasted for 3 full seconds before cutting off abruptly. The radio was silent for a moment. Then, Arthur's voice returned. It was still calm, but there was a new weight to it, a grim finality. "We seem to have lost Michael. For any other listeners out there on Route 100 tonight, please find another way home. Warren is unavailable tonight." A cold dread, separate from the chill of the rain, began to seep into my bones. This had to be an act, a brilliantly produced piece of radio theater. It had to be. Another caller connected, a woman sobbing. "Arthur, they're on the roof. They've been on the roof all night. They're just scratching. What do I do? Are the salts lines intact at all your windows and doors, Sarah?" Arthur asked, as casually as if he was asking about her grocery list. Yes, but the scratching. It's getting faster. Then you wait, dear, Arthur said. You wait for the sun. And you pray the scratching doesn't turn into a knock. I was frozen, mesmerized by the horrifying intimacy of it all. I was so engrossed I almost didn't notice the changes outside my own truck. The rain had stopped, but the world outside my windows hadn't returned to normal. The familiar dark shapes of pine trees had been replaced by tall, thin black silhouettes, leafless, branchless, like charred telephone poles. And the stars. I looked up through the windshield. The caller was right. They were fixed, cold, and identical pinpricks in a black velvet sky. They cast no light. My heart began to hammer. I wasn't on Route 9 anymore. I had no idea where I was. "We have a new caller," Arthur's voice announced, pulling me back into the cab. "You're on the air." A voice whispered through the speakers. It was low, raspy, and sounded like it was coming from the bottom of a well. It was the most terrifying sound I had ever heard. "He's in the truck with us, Arthur." I slammed on the brakes. The truck skidded to a halt on the empty, dark road. I spun around, frantically looking in the back seat. It was empty. My chest heaved with panicked breaths. Arthur's voice was tight, urgent. "Caller, can you describe what you see?" The raspy voice responded, each word a struggle. "He doesn't see us yet. He's listening to you. The door is open. The light is on. We can see him so clearly." I looked at my door locks. They were down. The lights on the dial. They were the only light for miles. With a shaking hand, I reached out and turned the knob. The radio and the cabin went dark. The silence was absolute. I sat there in the pitch black, too terrified to move, too terrified to breathe. I could feel my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Minutes ticked by. An hour. I don't know. Then from the passenger seat right next to me, the radio crackled to life on its own. It was no longer tuned to 660 AM. It was just raw, hissing static. And from the static, a voice emerged. It was the raspy caller from the radio. "You shouldn't have turned it off," it whispered. "We followed the signal right to you." I screamed, fumbling for the ignition. I turned the key, the engine roared to life, and I slammed my foot on the accelerator. I didn't care where I was going. I just had to get away. I drove blind for what felt like an eternity, until I saw the first familiar barn, the first normal, leafy tree. The stars began to twinkle again. The sun was just starting to bleed light into the eastern sky. I never found WXXP again. I've tried. I've driven those roads with a radio scanner, searching for any trace of it. There's nothing. No record of it ever existing. But sometimes, late at night, if the conditions are just right, I'll get a blast of static from a radio that's turned off. And in that static, I'll hear a faint, raspy whisper. "We're still following the signal, Eli. We always will be." I don't drive at night anymore, and I never, ever listen to the radio. Have you ever stumbled upon a radio station or TV channel that felt wrong? A broadcast that seemed to know a little too much? Share your story below. Sometimes the most terrifying voices aren't the ones in the dark, but the one that comes through your speakers, acting like a friend.